However, that does not completely explain what causes people to believe they have experienced a visitation. Dr. Michael Persinger from Laurentian University in Canada believes he has discovered a link between the alien visitation sensation and electromagnetic fields. He suggests that fluctuations in electromagnetic activity could stimulate a reaction in the brains of certain individuals and account for most alien visitation experiences.
The experience of a presence occurring usually late at night and either producing a mystical experience or a sexual experience or even a terrifying experience shows up in all cultures. And we now realize that this sensed presence is built into the human brain itself.
Persinger believes that it is possible to induce something like an alien visitation experience in almost anyone. He does this by creating complex electromagnetic fields in his laboratory and applying them to people's brains. To demonstrate, Persinger and his assistant place a volunteer inside a soundproof chamber. Electrodes producing the magnetic field are attached to the subject's head. Then he is blindfolded and the lights are dimmed. Persinger monitors his stats and waits for his subject to experience a feeling similar to that of an alien presence.
Mr. Booth, can you hear me?
Yeah. Flow with the experiences. If you wish to report them aloud, go right ahead.
Within minutes, the electromagnetic fields trigger a shocking reaction in the subject's brain.
How he describes it is going to be a function of his culture, his experiences, and his expectancy.
It's a lot. Feels like I'm dying.
At this point, Persinger stops the experiment. In this study, the subject is visualizing the presence in a terrifying way.
I've never had any feeling like that ever. It just made me feel a little trapped, and it hurt. I don't know, closest I've ever been to hell. It was an awful place to be.
The volunteer was extremely sensitive to the electromagnetic fields which stimulated his brain. However, this technique demonstrates the extraordinary power of our brain to turn our fears into monsters and demons, and even aliens from distant worlds.
Dozens of people who have had experiences that they attributed to alien abductions and experiences. When we put them through the chamber, they have a very similar experience.
The terrifying experiences induced in the chamber are caused by channeled electromagnetic fields. Persinger believes that abduction experiences in the real world are caused by electromagnetic fields created by natural phenomena, such as sun flares, seismic activity, and changes in atmospheric conditions. And it is thought that our common physiology and global culture is responsible for the similarity in the accounts.
Inevitably, we're all going to have similar experiences because our brains are wired that way. We'll see the same kinds of illusions, we'll have the same kinds of hallucinations, and so on.
The role of electromagnetism in alien experiences is far from proven. Some researchers suggest that sleep paralysis or conditions like post-traumatic stress are to blame. But until we've made contact with ET, we may never know if aliens are all in the mind or not. And if ET did reveal itself, there could be another barrier to overcome: language. It may be that aliens don't choose to talk with us at all. They may decide to talk to one of the other species that inhabits the Earth. And that could be whichever species they consider possesses the most intelligent language. It may be possible for aliens to cross the interstellar void, to land on Earth and to adjust for survival in our atmosphere. But communicating with us in any meaningful way may prove to be the hardest step of all.
We are arrogant to believe that they're going to want to actually talk to us and visit us. I mean, why? Think of ants in an anthill. If someone is building a 5-lane superhighway right next to the anthill, would the ants know how to communicate with the workers? The main danger is that these workers will simply pave over the anthill and not even realize what they've done.
In San Francisco, a few scientists are already studying ways of communicating, should ET ever come to call. Leading the hunt is SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. For the last 40 years, SETI scientists have been monitoring the skies, listening for messages from alien species.
SETI is just about every field you can imagine applied to the search for life in the universe.
SETI scientist Dr. Lawrence Doyle believes that the key to communicating with aliens is first to understand their level of intelligence. And for that, he needs to establish how organisms communicate.
There hasn't been a search for extraterrestrial intelligence yet. There's only been a search for extraterrestrial technology. We plan to make it a search for intelligence by understanding the laws that create communication, so that if we get signals, we can tell it's a communication as opposed to random astrophysical processes.
By understanding the laws of communication, Doyle can identify and separate real patterns of communication from random noise. To do this, he uses a mathematical equation known as information theory, which was originally developed to quantify the amount of information sent down telephone lines. Doyle uses it to analyze the complexity of a language. He calculates the interdependency of different words or sounds within the language. The greater the number of words or sounds that can be strung together that are dependent on the first word or sound in the sequence, the more complex the language. On this scale, English is a level 9 communication system. Doyle now plans to use the same technique on alien communication, and the higher the complexity, the more superior the intelligence.
Any alien or extraterrestrial message has to obey the rules of information theory. There's no other way to transmit information. And if we can measure how complex their communication is, it may be an indicator of how complex an extraterrestrial society is.
But information theory can only help Doyle understand the complexity of an alien signal, not the content. So even if he spots ET, he won't know what ET is saying. It's the same problem we have on Earth when humans try and communicate to other species.
If you smile at a wolf, it does not mean I'm happy. It means you want to pick a fight. If you smile at a chimpanzee, it means you're scared. So even a smile doesn't work. How do you communicate with an alien is a tricky point. We can't even agree on the same symbols of greeting among species on Earth.
Doyle has been using information theory to discern patterns and rules in animal communication and study their complexity. The results have been surprising. With his current data, Doyle has found that squirrel monkeys have level 3 communication system, while dolphins have a level 4 communication system. So who does Doyle think might be the best candidates to communicate with aliens? So far, he's not convinced that either dolphins or humans have the necessary linguistic skills. But he has found a species on Earth with a communication level much, much higher.
Humpback whales we're majoring in because they look like they will have the absolutely most complex communication system, maybe on the planet.
Doyle's study of humpbacks is in its early stages, and so far he has only studied their social calls. It may be that when extraterrestrials talk to the species with the most intelligent language, they won't talk with us. They'll talk to humpback whales instead. Despite listening to the universe for 4 decades, SETI has yet to discover a single confirmed extraterrestrial signal. To actually find real aliens, we may need to look in a different place, a place closer to home. Perhaps we should take a closer look at ourselves.
When you look in the mirror, perhaps you are looking at a Martian.
It's always amusing to me when I hear people talking about UFOs and aliens. But for me, it's the bacteria. There could be bacteria here that are really alien. Life on Earth could have come from Mars, and we could all be aliens here.
McKay and other scientists believe there's a chance that billions of years ago, alien bacteria were blasted from the surface of another planet and carried away on a meteorite. The meteorite might have eventually crash-landed on Earth, spilling out the bacteria, allowing it to grow and flourish on a new planet. It's a process called panspermia.
If panspermia is true, you and I are aliens in the sense that our life did not develop on the planet that we're living now.
Professor Jay Malosh of the University of Arizona has studied meteorites that have landed on Earth to see if they could have transported life from other worlds.
This meteorite is a piece of Martian basalt. Where it came from was a large meteorite impact on the surface of Mars. It's almost an ideal delivery mechanism.
It's ideal because the rock protects the bacteria from radiation and extreme temperatures in space. It would also protect it from the impact of crash landing on Earth. To test whether bacteria could travel safely through the cosmos, Jay Malosh and his colleague Wayne Nicholson conduct an extreme survival experiment. They inject a large block of rock with bacteria and take the sample to the Ames Vertical Gun Laboratory near San Francisco. The block's placed inside a large vacuum chamber.
Ready?
And Malosh then fires a projectile at 21,600 kilometers per hour.
It absolutely destroyed the rock target. It blasted into tiny fragments.
Amazingly, despite the rock being virtually vaporized, the bacteria survive intact.
If they could survive, it's not a big stretch to think that organisms on the surface of another planet could also survive meteorite impact and launch into interplanetary space.
The experiment shows that bacteria could not only survive the vacuum of space, but also the impact of landing on Earth. One theory is that bacteria from another world evolved over millions of years to form life as we know it. So perhaps all life on our planet is alien in origin.
We human beings, life, plants, animals, everything we see descended from that common Martian ancestor. That's a possibility. We may go to Mars and suddenly see, well, that's where great-great-great-grandma lived.
Because of the vast size of our galaxy, aliens, even highly advanced ones, may never have visited Earth in spaceships. All UFO sightings may well be no more than a simple misinterpretation of what we are seeing. And alien visitations are product of our overactive imaginations. But aliens might have been here all along. We and all the species on our world could be the direct descendants of extraterrestrial life forms. In the strangest twist of all, perhaps we are the aliens.